that is the sample from Skee-Lo's I Wish, which is taken from a Burner Right track called Spinnin'. If you just want to play the riff, you can click the link below the video and download a free PDF of the score. Otherwise, I'm going to spend the rest of this video analyzing the chords. So let's start with the bass line. The bass line is basically made up of 4 notes, and the 4 notes are C, A flat, B, G. And of course they're down an octave, but I'm aware that there's G's off camera, so I'm playing it up here. Before we elaborate on those, if we just look at how those 4 notes are structured, starting with C and then going down a major third to A flat, and then we have the same thing but down a semitone. So we're going to B and then going down another major third to G. And then of course G is the dominant of C, it's the fifth note of the scale, and that takes us back to C. So we basically have 2 pairs of notes that are a major third apart, and the second pair is a semitone below the first pair. So down a major third, and then same thing again, but down a semitone. And that just repeats. So later on, I'm going to play through the whole of the Burner Right track, at least the section of it that's sampled in this thing. And you'll see that pattern gets used even more and is moved around even more. So then the only other thing to point out in the bass line is that when we hit this A flat, the bassist plays a root 5th root chord. And if you don't know what a root 5th root chord is, I have a tutorial on that, so go and look that up. And then same thing with the G. Have a root 5th root chord on G. And that gives us the whole bass line. Of course, that's originally played on a bass guitar. I'm playing everything on an electric piano sound for this video. So that is the left hand. And before we get into the right hand, I'll just talk you through the chords, because basically on these 4 bass notes, which are kind of the fundamental 4 bass notes of the bass line, the right hand is going to be building a major 9th chord on every single one. So the harmony of the sample is C major 9, A flat major 9, B major 9, G major 9. And the way they get played are like this. So if you're not super familiar with major 9th chords, the easiest way to visualize this is to picture it as like a C major triad, which is pretty easy to visualize. And then we're going to take the root and then kind of split it into a major 7th and 9th. So just to go into that in a little more detail, the root, that C, you can think of that as an octave. You can think of an octave as an 8th. That's what octave means, oct, like octopus. So a semitone below an 8th is a major 7th, and a tone above an 8th is a 9th. So we can split that 8th or octave, taking the root in the right hand and splitting it into a major 7th and a 9th, which makes a major 9th chord. So we're going from C major to C major 9th, major 7th and a 9th. So that's the first chord. That's the second one, A flat major 9. That's a little harder to see. Easiest way to see it is if you picture an A flat chord like this. So A flat major triad with the A flat repeated at the top. If we take this A flat upper tone, so we're taking the root upper tone, the 8th upper tone to make a 9th, and then we're taking this root or 8th down a semitone to make a major 7th. So this is the 3rd and 5th of the chord, and then we have the 9th and major 7th. That's the second chord. And just notice that going from the first chord to the second chord, that top note is staying on, so that's the 5th of the C chord, and then the major 7th of the A flat chord. And then we have the same thing, but down a semitone. So B major 9, we can visualize that exactly the same way we visualize the C major chord. So that is a straight B major triad. So root 3rd, 5th. If we take the root or octave, take it down a semitone, gives us a major 7th. Take it up a tone, gives us a 9th. So instead of a straight B major chord, we're turning it into B major 9. We have major 7 and 9 here, either side of the root in the right hand. And then that B major 9 goes to G major 9. We can analyze that the same way we analyze the A flat chord. Start with a G major chord like this. Take the root up a tone, becomes a 9th. The that's G added 9, and then take the root down a semitone at the top, that becomes a major 7th. And again, the 5th of the B chord becomes the major 7th of the G chord. So the chord progression is basically C major 9, A flat major 9, B major 9, G major 9, and then back to C. And then we just take the bass line down an octave and add those root 5th root patterns in the bass and a bit of rhythm, and you get the whole riff. So let us quickly look at the original Bernard Wright spinning. I'm going to change to a piano sound. So let me play through, got my metronome over here. Let me play through this all the way through, and then I'll just talk about how it's different to how it's sampled on the Skee-Lo track. So this is the Bernard Wright original. So that's coming from the middle of the track. It starts at 1 minute 16 seconds in to the Bernard Wright track spinning. And I'll just quickly go over these chords because I think it's quite a cool sample. Look up the original. So starting with G major 7 over A. That's a G major 7 chord with an A at the bottom and another A at the top. In the original, the bassist is actually playing a root 5th root chord on that, but if you do that you can't play this 7th in this chord, so I just made it a simple A. And that goes on for 4 bars. Let's jump to this bit. So I changed this slightly. Instead of it being D major 9, making it D major 7, because in the original you can hear this piano a bit clearer that's kind of doing this downwards arpeggio thing. But the main thing to note is that this is upper tone from the Skee-Lo sample. In other words, when the producer sampled it for the Skee-Lo track, they moved it down to here. So we're starting on D, and then that original chord progression of going down a major 3rd and then repeating it down a semitone is exactly the same. So D major 9 even, D major 7, B flat major 9, and C sharp major 9, A major 9, kind of almost easier to play than to say. And you get that same thing. I mean, it's just a transposition of what we just played. So that 5th becomes a major 7th and so on. But then what's interesting in the original is that the whole thing's then shifted upper tone. So now we get the same thing but on E, which then goes to C, and then down a semitone, E flat, going to B, and then we're back to D, going to B flat, and then we land on this dominant A chord. So looking at the bass line again, we already had this pattern in the original, and this gets played twice. So major 3rd on, going down from D, then repeated down a semitone, but then we take the whole thing upper tone, so we get E going down a major 3rd, E flat going down a major 3rd, D going down a major 3rd, and then landing on A. And then that kind of, this section gets repeated. So all of that's included in the score that I linked to below the video. So if you're interested in playing that section of the original, you can learn that from the score as well.